this year. He's the only player to get it 3 times this year. Game tomorrow night, number 10 Auburn, 6 o'clock, SEC Network. That'll turn over to Coach for a quick comment.
Obviously played pretty good basketball. Especially the second part of the game at Alabama, and have a big test Tuesday night, playing against a really talented team that's extremely well coached and plays really, really hard.
Yes, sir. Well, what are your thoughts on Mason being SEC Player of the Week again for 3rd time? That's obviously pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. He's had such a great year, and it really started this summer. I mean, when I think about him at 6 in the morning getting shots up, the whole team didn't get up and shoot at 6 in the morning. I mean, he was a guy that was very consistent in his approach, and I think all of his hard work is why he's had such a jump from maybe where he was last year. The versatility that he's added to his game, not just a spot-up shooter, but his ability to create off the dribble, his ability to be a point forward now. He plays point guard as the game kind of goes on. Each night he kind of starts off at the 4 and morphs into our point guard. So he's it's awesome when a guy works hard and then his game elevates, which is what's happened with Mason.
I was going to ask about Reggie Chaney's game. It looks like he had, 11 rebounds against Alabama. What do you think of that?
I thought his second half rebounding is just what we needed. I thought he rebounded in traffic, Pete. I thought he range rebound. I thought there were some really, really good things that he did on the glass. All conference play. He's been really, really good finishing around the rim. And then it was probably his best defensive job when we've gone to our switching game plan. He did a great job of walling up, going vertical, kept Kyra Lewis in front of him, which I think is as hard a guy in the league to keep in front of you, and I thought he did a phenomenal job, again, defensively and on the defensive backboards.
Start to the season with, I guess, a suspension and then a couple bad games, but how encouraging is it to see him coming along like he is?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that, gets shots up early before practice. He's had a really good attitude. I mean, I guess the thing that I've been most impressed with is just, his attitude throughout the entire season. He's, I'm sure there's been several games that he wished he would have played more or had more of a role. And he hadn't let it affect his attitude at all. I mean, he just comes in and works, and we need him to play big for us for sure.
How important is it to kind of get Adriel going so you kind of have that 1-2 punch with those guys where you don't have a drop off if you have to make a move? Yeah,
I mean, Adriel was, he played so well, early in the year, and we need him to get back to that, spot where he's providing a ton of energy the entire time he's on the floor, not just in spurts. Adriel's got a unique personality in our locker room because he's a guy that's bubbly. He's a guy that attracts, good vibes. And so when he's playing well, I think his attitude becomes infectious in a positive way. Certainly we'd like both those guys to play well together, but we are a different offensive team when they're together.
Well, hello. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479. We're going to have an abbreviated show today as we're going to be off Arkansas. Mike Neighbors has media availability as he will be previewing their big matchup, 7:30 this Thursday in Bud Walton Arena on Nolan Richardson Court as they take on the number 1 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. Don Staley and the group will be making their way to Fayetteville. But tonight, we got another top 10, top 15 matchup. It's going to be a real busy week in Bud Walton. And let's get this thing started. Arkansas set to host tonight at 6 p.m. the 11th ranked, 19-2, 6-2 in the SEC, Auburn Tigers, as we let you hear audio from head coach Eric Musselman and Demetrius. This ought to make for a really good game. In particular, you come off a very disappointing home loss last Wednesday, go on the road, get a big one that I thought was a must win. Mason Jones is playing at a high level. Jimmy Witt got back to being Jimmy Witt. And everybody knows, Demetrius, I'm a big Reggie Chaney supporter. Reggie played big in that second half, nine rebounds, 11 total, 8 points. I've always felt if Chaney and Witt can continue to help out Mason Jones, and we all know eventually Isaiah Joe's going to get his shooting range back. I'm kind of struggling a little bit, but talk about tonight's ball game and how big is this going forward for this basketball team?
I think it's huge. I think they need a big home win against a good Auburn team. I think it'll be a good win for their SEC resume right now. And I think it'll just be a good momentum game. It's been a while since they won an SEC game at home, so I think it'll be great.
I mean, you think about this. Arkansas is at Missouri. Then they're at Tennessee. They come home, Mississippi State. Then we're back out on the road versus Florida. So this 5-game stretch, Demetrius, will tell a lot about, the fortunes as far as tournament down the road goes. You'll find out a lot here in the next week and a half to 2 weeks on this basketball team. I feel pretty good going into tonight's ball game. Arkansas, I believe, is a point favorite. Both of Auburn's losses, for if there's any comforting in this matchup, is that they've been on the road at Florida and at Alabama, a place that Arkansas just left on Saturday with the W. So that just heightens it even more. And I just think Arkansas, if they can continue to play the defense that they've played, they should be in this matchup. I know it's real imperative that they get this one. You can't drop 3 at home in conference, Demetrius. You just can't do that.
Absolutely, and I think you just said a key kind of stat there. How Arkansas lost to the teams that Auburn beat, but Auburn beat the teams Arkansas has lost to. So I think it's going to be crucial that Arkansas kind of break that skid and beat that Auburn and add to their resume of SEC opponents. And again, you're right, 3 games at Bud Walton. It's been a while. Since they've continuously lost that many games at Bud Walton. Usually they may lose 1 or 2, win 1. Maybe lose 2 again, win 1, lose 1 at home, and then win again. It's been a while since they consistently lost back-to-back games.
Mason Jones was named yesterday co-SEC Offensive Player of the Week for the 3rd time. He's the only player in the SEC having had that honor bestowed on him 3 different times during this campaign, as he had a 30-point game versus Tulsa, South Carolina, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And it's just, he's playing at a very, very, very high level for Arkansas. As I've stated before, if you can just get Isaiah back in the slump, and all shooters go through this, so I don't want there to be any caution or concern. He's got a little banged up knee, but, I know Isaiah, he's a tough competitor. He'll fight through it, get the proper treatment, and, that his shot will come back. And if that is the case, and Arkansas can just hold serve, Demetrius, you got to like Arkansas's chances down in these last 10 games as far as where they can get seeding-wise for the SEC tournament and set themselves up pretty good for the NCAA bid as well. But we're going to step away, let you hear more of the Eric Musselman Auburn preview, and then we'll be back. Time to talk a little football recruiting. We had a big-time interview that I want to give props to, and I think we had some people that had a chance to view that sit down that we had with Sam Pittman. And then, he's got big National Signing Day coming up. We'll talk about 3 in particular recruits that I know all of Razorback Nation is going to keep an eye on to see what these 3 young men do, because if it's Arkansas, could be some special things down the road. We'll talk about all that coming up. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Man doesn't understand when you draw free throws attempted, it helps your defense because the other team's not playing in the flow of the game, and your defense can get set. And Mason's got the creativeness and the ability to to draw free throws just because he can be unorthodox as well when he puts the ball on the deck.
Eric, Auburn moved up to number 11 in the AP poll after beating Kentucky and coming back last week at Ole Miss. Kind of, what's your thoughts about the opportunity? Because you got to play one ranked team, Kentucky. Tough game, didn't quite turn your way. is another big opportunity for you. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you play a team that's top 15 in the country. Always a great opportunity. Playing them at home is a great opportunity. Having said that, I mean, they're ranked 11th for a reason because they're really, really good. They're really long. They're really experienced. When you start looking at their roster, obviously they lost a lot last year off a great team. And Coach Pearl does a great job. He's intense for an entire 40 minutes, and his team kind of takes on his personality. But they're old too. I mean, they got some guys that are have experience on their roster, and then they have a freshman that's just been incredible. Curl's done such a great job for them defensively. He's a really good defender. He does a great job of getting to the basket off dribble drives, and then they're an awesome offensive rebounding team as well. And they draw fouls. I mean, you look at the 44 free throws they took against Kentucky. That's a pretty big number.
The free throws, how concerned? Of course, that was their place. They may not get those calls here or on the road in general. Well, but what do you guys have to do to not put them on the line a whole lot?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to be who we are defensively. It's not like we're going to come out and play a zone we have to do what we work on every day, and what we've been working on since the summer. And I don't believe in having 12 different defenses. I don't think you can be really good if you try to do 12 different things. And look, people know how we're going to defend. They know, we're going to play man-to-man defense, and we're going to aggressively guard the three-point line, and we're going to fly around and try to get defensive rebounds. But I think we don't want to take away our aggressiveness either.
But how's Isaiah Joe's knee doing? It looked like he was really limping on Saturday.
Yeah, he's going to be day-to-day probably for 2 to 3 weeks, and that's what it's going to be. He'll be day-to-day, and if he's able to play whenever that is over the course of the next 2 weeks, great. And when he's not able to play, we just need people to step up like they did against TCU.
I mean, how important is it to have him back?
I think for, with our roster, whether it's, Reggie, like we need a full roster. We're not a deep team. And so, but just as we saw in TCU, when a player goes down or is not able to play, then somebody else gets opportunities. So we just got to go day by day and see where we stand and see what our roster looks like.
With Isaiah, do you think about just shutting him down for a couple of weeks and seeing how that'll do, or is that just not a good option?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want Mark O'Neal to give me out of bounds plays. Don't want him to give me defensive schemes on how to play Auburn, and I'm not going to tell him anything about medical. I don't know anything about. I know my back's sore right now, and that's all I know medically. I can't comment or talk about any of our guys. I mean, if somebody's got a head cold, I don't know what that does to a player's energy. If a guy's got a bad ankle, I mean, it's kind of up to Mark. When Desi went down, I just say, is he ready or not? That's all that's.
Have you guys done like an MRI on his knee to see if there's something?
Yeah, they did one.
So it's just the inflammation stuff.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. And then on Adriel, he started every game. I know he hadn't been playing as well. Do you just feel like, hey, make a lineup change? And, he's an older guy. He's been playing well. How did Adriel handle that?
Yeah, I think that all our guys want to play. If you're used to starting and then you don't.
Welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition. And real quick, want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors that make this broadcast for you all possible each and every week. With that being said, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion is located at Fayetteville, just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. If you need anything to look good, contact Corey Beck. And lastly, KDK's Chicken. It's at 989 Razorback Road. Get down there and see Keith and Kathy. Get a plate of that love, like this says. Not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles in the South. But tomorrow, Coach Sam Pittman and his staff will be finalizing their first initial Razorback recruiting class for the class of 2020 here on the Hill. And, they've done quite the job, Demetrius, when you look at it, for what they've been able to do on the early signing period, signing 9 with the flip of 6 young men that may not have had Arkansas as their top choice at the moment, but were able to flip those. Also, too, got 8 commits following national early signing period, as kids will be making their choice for Arkansas known tomorrow. But talk about this recruiting class in your summation. I mean, not a lot of time to go out and really recruit, but he's made up a lot of ground, Demetrius, in a short period of time, because as we know, wasn't looking too good. This team is 4-20. They're trying to recruit. Talk about that. Talk about that. He's so busy.
The
recruiting class. So you're over there getting everything worked out on the controls. I don't think you heard the question.
It's interesting. I talked about how we were ranked 100-some before Sam Pittman got here, and I feel like just due to his reputation, he really brought us back. Because it was going to be a hard way to come back just for that loss with Chad. Chad did have a few pieces that he was trying to recruit, but I think Sam Pittman put together an excellent class. I want to say this is probably one of the highest classes outside of that class that we had last year. May end up being higher than that class come tomorrow, and I think that'll be outstanding. I said if Pittman got in anywhere between the top 30, anywhere above 30, I think he did an excellent job with the time he had.
I think, Malik Hornsby is a guy, quarterback, that was mentioned here several weeks ago as someone that had Kendall Briles. If he were to be named the quarterback, you could hear his name be a prospect that Kendall would really, really covet to come to Arkansas. I think, Arkansas, in my humble estimation, the conversations that I've had with the young man, I feel like Arkansas's got a very good chance to sign this young man. He's a 4-star U.S. Army All-American. Team finished second in the state championship game, was beaten by Aledo, I believe, in the 5A Division I state championship game. I mean, he's had success multiple years, was previously committed to North Carolina, decommitted. But this guy's been coveted by so many programs, and I think if you get a guy like Malik Hornsby, Demetrius, now you talk about Hornsby, you talk about K.J. Jefferson, you're talking about Felipe Franks. Oh, what a difference one cycle makes when you look at the quarterbacks that you've had in Starkle, Ben Hicks, John Stephen Jones. Talk about the difference and just the competition in that room. If Malik Hornsby decides to be a Razorback, you got to feel good about the future going forward in that room.
I mean, you can even look on what they have on campus just with K.J. Jefferson. I think you're going to see a lot of younger guys. I think you're going to see not only that, just a different type of quarterback that you've seen in the past years. You can kind of see they went towards that mobility quarterback. I think that's essential that you have a dual threat quarterback. Even when you look at Joe Burrow,
right.
A lot of people put that kind of stigma because he's white that he can't run. But
absolutely,
he had feet. He was actually a great dual threat quarterback, and that's really him dangerous. He was a quarterback that could really sit in that pocket, and then when he couldn't find that last outlet, he was able to make something happen with his legs. So I think it's great the way Sam in one cycle, Sam Pittman has brought us up to speed.
Right.
You kind of seen flashes of Arkansas kind of going in the right direction with Chad, but I think Sam Pittman put it on steroids. He did what it probably took Chad 3 years. He did it in one.
Right.
And I think you're really going to see the benefits of that come this year. You're going to see a different product on the field.
And they've had some kids that's come in, taking official visits that maybe decide to go elsewhere. Some that were committed to Arkansas, and Arkansas got visits second time around that decide to go elsewhere. And that's fine. Another young guy, and I think a position of need, Demetrius, and me and you have talked about this for so many years, with that being 4-star offensive lineman previously committed to Missouri, Jalen St. Paul. St. John, this is a big offensive lineman that came in the weekend of the Kentucky game for his official visit. Came away really impressed, and I feel like the young man was supposed to go to Florida State, did not make that trip. you have to feel good if you're Coach Sam Pittman and Brad Davis and that offense staff here at Arkansas. Arkansas, I feel good, will be the leader in the clubhouse tomorrow for his signature. Now, talk about this, Demetrius, because we all know it's a line of scrimmage league, and you have to have the big uglies, as they like to call them. Sam Pittman is known for having big offensive lines. How big would it be to be able to add a guy of Jalen's potential to an offensive line that, quite honestly, needs an upgrade?
I think it's huge because you have a chance to have a mixture of guys on that offensive line. I think you're going to see a lot of competition for these younger guys, but you have a little experience that you can kind of mix in there along with this youth, because I think you definitely can see these younger guys that he's bringing in, they definitely have the chance to play right away. But if not, you can kind of still see that there's going to be great talent still at the offensive line, and if not, I think they're going to be coached up to a standard to where they can become great. Even when I don't know if you had a chance to see where they were doing the off-season workouts and Pittman was talking to some of the linemen. And, he spoke to one, I can't remember what guy he was talking to, but he was like, man,
I believe that was Stromberg.
He's like, man, if you keep working like you're working, man, you got the potential to be great. And I think when you have a guy like Pittman and then you bring in Coach Davis and you have that combination of two great minds at that offensive line
you make a good
position, you have no choice but to be great at the University of Arkansas.
Then our last one is another big offensive line prospect. Marcus Henderson was a young man that came in the December 13th weekend for his official visit, had previously 2 weeks prior taken an official to Missouri. I mean, this is a young man out of the Memphis area, University High School, that took a junior day visit with Chad Morris and that staff over a year ago. Didn't seem to make it back, but, he's down to Ole Miss and Arkansas. And I personally, if you had to ask me, I think this young man's going to be a Razorback. I think the relationship that he built with Coach Odom, Coach Davis at Missouri, having visited, with Coach Davis officially at Missouri and having come to Arkansas, I just feel like Arkansas has to be the leader in the clubhouse. He too is another one, Demetrius, an Under Armour All-American that prior to Sam coming on board, Arkansas was not on his radar. I mean, we keep talking about the improvement, and those that heard me say this when the job came available, the reason why I was so high on Sam Pittman is his ability to get the staff together, his ability to recruit and have coaches that can go out and recruit. And for those that didn't get a chance to hear our sit down, our one-on-one, we will be playing it in its entirety following our conclusion of today's show. For those that didn't get a chance to hear the full 20-minute sit down that we had with the head hog, Sam Pittman himself. And I'm talking about Demetrius did a great job. Some of the stuff, Demetrius, like when he said it was his last job, I think you'll be quite interested how he, his philosophy on strength conditioning. And when you heard that, you were real excited when Sam talked about the strength and conditioning program. And why was it in his words in our sit down, Demetrius, you felt so good about the future going forward here at Arkansas under his direction?
I mean, you could just look at the recruiting class, look, like we've been talking about this whole show, the amount of time it took him to get a good product. And that's off the field. So again, him being a proven coach and then going to get guys around him that really bring great coaching ability and head coaches at that. So they know what the signs of a program is. They know when a team is trending up, when a team is trending down, maybe when they need to take changes. And I like the fact that Sam Pittman is humble enough and he's wise enough to understand to put guys that's better than him in certain areas around him. He understood that he wasn't the head coach. He came out and said that, but he was smart enough to go get guys that had head coaching experience to teach him what he needed and that were willing to give him those things. So I think when you look at the chemistry and just the ideas that Sam Pittman has brought from winning programs such as Georgia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, we can go on, and it's just you see so much progression in Arkansas, even as a program. Even with him calling each season ticket holder. That's a step I've never seen a coach at Arkansas do.
Correct. And
people may think that's something small, but when you're talking about people giving their hard-earned money and investing in your program when not everybody is familiar with you, that can go a long way in years to come.
Steve Armin, he's watching, and Steve, want to thank you for taking time out to be with us here on OTH, all the way from Cabot, Arkansas. Hello, Steve. We always love your questions. Steve Wilson, and he's Demetrius, all the way from Colorado. Says it was a great interview. He had a chance to sit down with him, and his question was, where, in our humble opinion, and it's just our opinion, do we think that this recruiting class is going to rank? I think Arkansas is going to be anywhere from that 34 or 30 to 38 range, which I think is really, really good, considering that this was a 119th rated class prior to Coach Pittman taking the job over. It just goes to show the ability that he and his staff will be able to connect and build the types of relationships and go after the types of players that you have to win in the SEC. Demetrius, if this team can close out, and I think there's going to be one surprise. You heard me say it. I think there's going to be one surprise recruit coming to Arkansas that no one saw coming, and it's really going to be one of those that we talked about. I've always felt like Arkansas is going to be one of the more talked about programs for the ground that they've been able to make up in the recruiting part of things under Coach Sam Pittman. Now, will Arkansas have a top 15 class? Not the case. Just too much ground, but I think they're going to have a very good, productive class that we'll look back, Demetrius, here in about 2 or 3 years, and there's going to be a lot of these kids in this 20 class to go along with those 19s. They're going to really start to build the culture that Coach Pittman and his staff have come and set forth to build. I feel really good about signing day under Coach Pittman for what they were able to accomplish in such a short period of time, D.
Absolutely. And, they have us ranked 40 right now on 247 Sports. And, I think they can crack that 30. I think anywhere between 25 to 30, even when you look at the addition of Felipe Franks. I don't know if that really affects the recruiting overall class, but I think when you just look at the talent that Sam Pittman was able to bring, I include Felipe Franks. So I look at that, and include that. But I still think they're a top 30, anywhere between 30 to maybe 26, 25. At the end of the day, if we can go get the guys that we're chasing right now.
When you talk about defensive line, Andy Boynton is another young man that we talked about here out of LaGrange, Georgia Troop High School, committed over the weekend on his official visit here to Fayetteville. Kid had multiple offers, Alabama's, the Floridas, Auburn's, Tennessee's. I mean, could have gone anywhere at 6'4", 301 pounds. This is a guy that, if he can take care of the things off the field academically and they feel real close, that he'll be able to. I mean, he's going to come here and impact this program. Also, too, Xavier Kelly, Demetrius, is the guy that we also had a question about. And, the general consensus around him is that they feel pretty good about him becoming a Razorback. And when you can get a guy, really, when you look at this, Demetrius, if you can get a defensive lineman from a program that's played in the last 4 playoff appearances, 3 national championships, he's going to come in here with a lot of big game experience, and he would have to be a guy that could come in and make an immediate impact. Think about T.J. Smith and Sosa are gone, so there's a lot of playing time for inside guys if you can come in and show that you're able to handle it.
And I think coming from programs like that, you have to physically be there. I think more so is got those guys coming in and understanding the scheme and fitting what Sam Pittman really wants them to do. But I think if they do choose to come to Arkansas, they do have a high probability of getting immediate playing time. And when you're a grad transfer, you don't have time to try to work your way in the spot. You're transferring to get immediate playing time. So I think when you just look at the situation, even if he was here to go ahead to transfer, I think going into the spring he will be the starter going in, and it would be his job to lose.
Derek Conway. And Derek, also, too, want to thank you for each and every day being a great and a loyal viewer and listener and chiming in. And he has a good one. I think we'll get that surprise recruit and end up with a top 30 class, maybe top 25 class this year. What do you think about that?
I mean, he hit it right on the nail. That's what I'm predicting. I think with what Sam Pittman has put together, if we're ranked 40, and we go ahead and get some of these sneakers and we grab the guys that have solid hard commits to us, I think we can definitely crack that 30. And like I said, the highest being maybe 25. But I do see anywhere between that 30 to 26 range of Arkansas kind of landing there at the end of the day, come signing day.
And the thing that I'm going to make a statement, and I'm going to say it right now, with signing day being just a day away, Sam Pittman and this staff, over their time as Razorback coaches, head coaches, assistant coaches, we'll go back this time next year, and I guarantee you this class is going to be more highly talked about, big-time players throughout it. The 21 class, as Arkansas's really starting to make great headways into the 21 and 22 classes. I know, and speaking to a lot of the Georgia kids, Demetrius, Coach Pittman, Fountain, and Coach Smith are highly, highly respected in that state for a lot of the top prospects. So expect big things to come out of that state. Florida's going to be a state I think Arkansas is really going to have a presence in. And as in our interview, you heard Sam say they're going to have a strong presence. I think Texas with Kendall Browse is going to be a big stopping crowd. I think that Golden Triangle area is going to really start to bear a lot of fruit for the University of Arkansas. And then the New Orleans area with Coach LeBlanc, Coach Davis, and Coach Carter all being from that New Orleans area. I think they're going to really, really help out in those areas as well. But just really excited for the way that they're starting to be aggressive recruiters. And I think that's, Demetrius, what's been missing is the aggressiveness in the recruiting. Sam said it best. You have to recruit like you're on steroids, and you have to have coaches that get it and understand the type of body and talent level that you have to recruit year in and year out to compete.
Yeah, like I said, you do that by going to get coaches that understand that, and I think that's what Sam Pittman did, and he mentions that in our interview. If you get a chance, tune into the interview. He kind of goes into detail of why he kind of chooses each of the coaches that he went out and hired. He gets kind of in depth of what made them appeal to the University of Arkansas and why he felt that these were the coaches that could get Arkansas back to greatness.
Well, I mean, that's going to wrap up our show today as we got to make our way over to get you some more information, but we're going to bring it to women's basketball styles. We're going to be making our way over to Coach Mike Neighbors as he's going to preview their big ball game this Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. The number 1 ranked South Carolina Lady Gamecocks will be coming into Fayetteville, coached by head Olympic coach Don Staley. She'll be bringing her squad in here for a big-time matchup. Also, too, want to make a note tonight, Arkansas's men on the SEC Network will be taking on and hosting the Auburn Tigers, coached by Bruce Pearl, 19-2, ranked 11th in the country. They'll come in here 6-2 in the conference. That big matchup is all say. But also, too, tonight we will be on air broadcasting Fayetteville High basketball, girls and boys basketball, as they will host the Bentonville West Wolverines in the second go around in the conference. Fayetteville 6-1, tied for first place in the boys conference, as the girls are also 6-1. They're just a game behind the Bentonville Lady Tigers. So if you're not doing anything, tune in to Red Dirt 106.1 or come out to Fayetteville High and be a part of this great high school 6A West matchup. But with all that being said, I want to give a shout out as we're going to leave to our sponsors, with that being Lindsay and Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. A Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, residential, commercial, doesn't matter. If you want to look good, contact Corey Beck. And lastly, KDK's Chicken. It's at 989 South Razorback Road. Get on down there and get your plate of that love. Like let's say, it's not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles in the South. For my producer, Demetrius, and myself, once again, if you didn't get a chance to catch our sit-down, our 20-minute sit-down one-on-one with head hog Sam Pittman, you can catch that in its entirety following our broadcast of OTAs. With all that being said, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and you know what I say. Let's get I'm sitting here in the office with new head football coach Sam Pittman. Sam, welcome to On the Hills podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.
When I say that, Sam, the head football coach at Arkansas, I mean, how does that resonate with you? I mean, you and I had a conversation a long time ago, but it's a reality. I mean, how does that resonate with when you hear that head coach at the University of Arkansas?
I don't know. You know, it hits me as an honor. Sometimes it hits me as really, you know, and sometimes it hits me kind of scary, you know. Well, we got to do this. But it's truly an honor that each and every day I feel grateful for. I mean, I really do, and grateful for the men around me and certainly the state of Arkansas. You know, people are so different here, you know, and so passionate, so caring, you know, and I can't tell you how many times in our staff meeting I've said, that's an Arkansas thing, and it's always in a positive way, but, you know, people, they'll say, well, no, I ran into Walmart and this happened. I say, that's Arkansas. You know, you're welcome. You're welcome that you were able to come to our state, you know. So, yeah, it's been overwhelming a little bit, and it's been an honor, you know.
Talk about that process. Must have been pretty exciting for you. You know, you get done with the SEC championship game on a Saturday, and then almost within 48 hours, you're here in Fayetteville being announced as the head coach. Talk about that process.
Well, you know, it was. There's little rumblings here and there during the week of the SEC championship game, and then on Sunday is when everything really kind of got rolling, and they came to see Jamie and I and sat out in our home and wanted to visit a little bit, and of course we were excited, you know. To be honest with you, my hair was a little too long, so between working there at Georgia and Hunter and John and Steve Cox coming to the house, I had to get a haircut. So I went to Supercuts, and I put my cell number in. I was number 19. and so I was 19, and I had 59-minute wait, and I had about an hour and 45 minutes before they were going to get to the house. Right. But they came in the house, and we visited and interviewed or talked or whatever you want to call it. And then after that, maybe an hour into the conversation, Jamie and I was offered a head coaching job here at Arkansas, and I went limp. I mean, I just, until you really hear it, it doesn't really sink in. And I thought I didn't figure they was going to fly out there not to, I'd have to mess it up. But to hear it was incredible. And then we had a little bit of time after that to go call my 3 sisters and my brother and some, Todd Ross and Brandon Adams, guys that mean a lot to me. And we were able to talk to them, and it was a exciting, incredible day and moment. And then next thing you know, we're flying in here and talking to the team that night. So it all happened really fast.
The part I wanted that stood out to me, you stepped to the podium to be named the head coach, and just the instant emotion. Where did that come from?
Well, I think a lot of it came from many years of wanting something like this, but it was University of Arkansas. It was just different. I mean, I had wanted to be a head coach for a long time, but Arkansas, I mean, come on. So it was gratifying. I think part of it, when I first took the job here at Arkansas, and to see my mother and father's face and how excited they were that I was here as the O-line coach, and then to come back as the head coach and being able to talk to my brother and my 3 sisters and all that, it was an incredible moment.
when you talk about being a head coach here at Arkansas, a lot of people say Arkansas is different. It's very unique, and you have to get a coach that gets it. And you had time, 3 years under Brett as the offensive line coach. Do you think that was that something that helped you kind of understand what it would take to take this head coaching job and lead this program?
And I think exactly that's. I don't know what you believe in your life personally and all those things, but I believe that I was here at Arkansas for a reason the first time, to get ready for the coming back. And so I learned a lot about the state during that time. Of course, I was, grew up across the state, but close, 70, 75 miles from here at Grove, Oklahoma. So, but I think all that happened for a reason, and if you really want to know the truth, every fan base is passionate about whoever they love. Georgia fans, Georgia or Georgia Tech or whoever they may be, or Oklahoma State or Tulsa or whoever. And of course, we have Arkansas State here as well. But in the state, if you're a Razorback, you've probably been a Razorback for many, many years. Right. And you're born a Razorback. And so those things are so unique here. The people are so kind. And to be honest with you, I want to be the guy that came in here and we were able to turn the program back to where the University of Arkansas should be. And I wanted that burden on my shoulders. I wanted it. Because I knew I could hire people around me that felt the same way, that could coach and recruit. And we've done that. And so I wanted that pressure. I certainly have it, but I wanted it.
Initially, the first day on the job, Brad Davis, the guy that you recruited to Oklahoma, coached, he was in the building, but nobody knew Brad was in Fayetteville. Talk about that staff, and why was Coach Davis the first hire that you brought to Fayetteville?
Well, Brad, I knew, in my opinion, that he's the top offensive line coach in the country. I knew who he was. To be honest with you, I feel like Brad's my son. I mean, I do, and I know he's not. He's got a wonderful mom and dad. But I felt that way about him. I've loved him for a long, long time, since he was 18 years old, and I've been involved in his coaching searches, and hopefully I had some influence in some of the jobs that he was able to get. But I mean, you're talking about a guy that's been offered basically every job in America, every quality college job, a lot of them, let's say that, in America. And when I called him, it was like, for you? I said, no, for Arkansas. He said, I'm there, and he came. Then he stayed. Because he's had several offers since he's been here too, and he stayed faithful to the university and to the state and to myself. And he was the first guy. And I had been in contact with Barry when I thought maybe possibly Barry Odom, and maybe possibly I'd get the job. And I understand Barry turned some pretty nice jobs down himself to come be with us at Arkansas. So we kind of got it started rolling a little bit, and then I was sitting here on my phone rings, and if I don't have a contact, it doesn't come up with a contact, then I'm not going to answer it, and I'm not better than anybody. I just, I no telling who it is, and maybe I didn't pay my credit card or something. I don't know. But it was Kendall Browse, and I picked it up, and there was no contact on it, and got to talking to him too. So that's how he kind of got in the mix. And then we just went out and tried to find guys that were good that we played against. Right. I really wanted SEC experience on our staff, because I just feel like you need it, and you need it in every aspect, but you need it in recruiting, because the world is just different in the SEC. Right. And you have to understand the league to understand what kind of talent you need to have success in this league. And I wanted to surround myself with guys that understood that. And so I think we did. And I'm, every morning, 7:30 in the morning, I'm talking too much right now, but every morning, 7:30 in the morning, we have a staff meeting, and it's everybody in the building is in that staff meeting, because I want us all to be together. I want us all to be loyal to each other, and I want us all to understand the expectations that are in the building and for the university. And those meetings in the morning, I can't wait to get to. They're outstanding. We kind of pump up a different individual every morning. Somebody maybe even on the periph that they don't get to talk a lot in there, but we want to hear their voice and something that can make us better. And everybody's important, and we need everybody in our organization to be the best at whatever their title is. We want them to be the best in the country, and we feel pretty solid that we're on the right track.
Coached at multiple SEC stops. Coach Smith there at Missouri.
Yeah.
Coach Dickey at Tennessee. You come here with Brett Bielema at Arkansas. And then you move on to Georgia with Kirby Smart. In your press conference, Coach, you mentioned that while you were at Georgia, it was like recruiting on steroids. What was the one thing that you took from Kirby Smart that you can apply to the aggressive recruiting style here at Arkansas?
It was the relentless effort and the relentless accountability of recruiting. In other words, I can tell or ask someone to go out and recruit, but if there's not accountability into it, then you can slip. In other words, if I'm going to ask somebody to do something, tomorrow I'm going to ask him the result of what he did, then he pretty much going to do it. Right. And so I think that was what I learned from Kirby the most in recruiting, was that if there was something being asked, there was going to be an accountable answer for it soon. It might be 15 minutes, it might be the next morning, but hey, I'd like for you to do this, and then I'm wanting to know the answer. He wouldn't say that, but you knew that eventually within the next 12 minutes to 12 hours, you was going to have the answer for whatever the question was. I think that was different than, hey, I know I hired a lot of great recruiters. Go out and recruit, and man, we're going to get a lot of people. I think there's note writing. I think there's texting. I think there's group texting. I think there's a whole lot of things that we can do that possibly other schools don't, or maybe we can do more than they do. So I learned that from Kirby, that, and the old saying is everybody has time, and what you do with it. There's a lot of truth to that, and I think you have to watch it to being overbearing and all those things, but you certainly don't want to lose a kid in recruiting because somebody outworked you for it. And I think that's what I learned from Kirby.
Looking in the SEC West, LSU just won the national championship under Coach O. When you see coaches like Coach O, get a job that he wanted in the state of Louisiana, how much does that motivate you to think maybe, Arkansas, I want to be here, and maybe that could be me at that stage? One time, is that a driving force for you?
Quite a bit, but I will say this. Coach O, you can tell his passion for Louisiana, and I know they're a rival school and they're in the West and all that, but I really enjoy watching him talk and watching him speak about Go Tigers, and because I know how passionate he is about the program that he's in, and I assume what he did, he went and hired who he felt were the best assistants for his job that he had, and let them coach. And certainly that's what we're trying to do here. We're so far off from Coach O and all that, so certainly there's no comparison there. He's already proven that. But it is very awesome to see how he feels about Louisiana like I do about the state of Arkansas.
A lot of other coaches. Coach O is just one. You'll be going against the likes of Saban, Jimbo Fisher. A lot of coaches in this league that's coached in national championship games. Some have won.
Yeah.
Head coaches or coordinators. How exciting does that make the staff, you guys as a whole, feel to be able to match wits in the coming years with these great staffs and programs?
Well, certainly, you know, you mentioned, you know, Nick Saban and those guys. I mean, those guys are legends in the college football world. But once you get on the football field, it's all about the preparation that you've done through the season. It's all about what kind of game plan you have, who do you have, matchups, all those type things. And really that doesn't come into thinking. I can remember the first time we played Alabama, I looked over and I was going, well, we're playing Alabama, you know, and it was kind of like, you know, wow and all that. And then after the game starts, it's, you know, we played them right out here and they beat us 14-13 but once the game starts, it's all about your kids and do you have them ready to go, do you have them prepared and all that. But certainly the names that you just said of coaches, it certainly solidifies that one of the greatest leagues in the country is the SEC West.
You talk about your strength and conditioning program, Coach. What's your philosophy as far as strength and conditioning goes for your football program in the SEC going forward?
Well, I think if you look at our team right now, we have to get bigger. So we hired Jamil Walker from Georgia, and we have to get more physical. We have to get bigger. We have to get faster, all those things. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to instill discipline and confidence in the weight room. But we have to be a bigger football team. Games are won on line scrimmage in this league, and we have to get bigger physically. We have to recruit bigger on the O and D lines. And certainly skill matters, all that. I'm not saying that, but if you can't win up front on either side of the ball, you're going to be in trouble on a Saturday. So we're trying to build confidence in that room.
Two quick questions. Recruiting territories. How will you break up?
I think we're going to have 10 in the state of Arkansas. We've already broke that up, and then I believe we're a regional recruiting base. In other words, I think if you're touching us, we're recruiting you. So you know, obviously Oklahoma, Texas, the states that are touching us. And I think we're going to have a presence in Georgia because I was in Georgia, and I think we are going to have a presence in Georgia. We'll always have a presence in Florida. But we're trying not, you know, it's not about the number of schools you see each time you go out. It's about the people you affect and the knowledge you've learned when you went into the school. I don't care if our coaches go 8 schools. I'd rather them go 4 and make sure that they got the knowledge and they affected people in that school when they went in.
Last question, Sam. Is Arkansas, will this be your last stint in college coaching?
This is it. No matter, this is it. This is my last job. I've been privileged to be the head coach, named the head coach here, and this is it. As long as they'll have me, then we'll just stay right here and see what we can get done.
And final message to the Razorback Nation. Well, if there was one message, and you know everybody, whatever Sam Pittman says at this point, they want to listen to, what's that one message that you want them to know, for this football program under Sam Pittman?
Well, we want them to know that everybody in this building is proud to be here. I think that's the biggest thing I want them to know, and then I want them to know that we're going to work each and every day because we want to make the state proud of our football team. You see what's going on in basketball and in baseball and all the women's sports and all that. We want to be a part of something. That sign right there says you're not coming to play for the University of Arkansas, you're coming to play for the state of Arkansas. And if that's the case, we want to make the state proud of us, and that we're working each and every day to get that done.
Well, Sam, we welcome you back to the Hill, hopefully for a lot of successful Saturdays, and just want to thank you for taking time out.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Great interview. Appreciate you.
And can I get a yes, sir, to the camera?
Yes, sir.